Students, in this video, I want to talk with you briefly about databases. Our library has over 200 of them we subscribe to, and all of them are searchable simultaneously in Walford OneSearch. In other words, you can go in Walford OneSearch and look for information on a topic, and all 200 plus databases will be serving up resources to you all at once. But you may at times want to search a database alone. And the reasons for doing that include two big reasons. One is you want to look at resources devoted to one discipline, just the articles concerning psychology, or just the articles concerning film studies, or just the articles concerning English literature, or sociology, or European history. I can give any number of examples. But all of our major departments have their go-to databases. The other big reason why you'd want to search a database is because that database will have filters, means by which to limit your results that are specific to your discipline, that would make sense to you in that discipline, but may not ever occur to a person in another discipline as being important. So let me show you how easy it is to find the best databases for your chosen field. And so let me share with you my screen. I'm going to the library's homepage. Here's the central search box. We've seen this before. It is the means by which you search Walford OneSearch. That's the default setting for this box. But if I come over here to this fourth tab, it says Database plus Journal Finder. I can click here, and I'm now able to search for databases. If I know the specific database I want to search, I can enter its title in this Search for Databases box, and I'll be able to go right to that database. But let's imagine that as a first-year student, I do not know the best databases for my field. So how do I find them? So let's imagine that I need to find the best databases for the field of psychology. So I come here to this link at the bottom center of this central box. It says databases A to Z and by subject. I click on that. And here I have an A to Z list of the databases. So if I wanted to go to say the P's or the R's, I know that the title of my database starts the letter P or the letter R. I could go to that section of the list and sort through the ones in that section to identify the database that I had some acquaintance with before. But if I have no idea as to what the databases that are best for my discipline are, I would come here to this All Subjects drop-down menu. I would click on that down arrow to get to the menu of the databases for all of the majors or for all of the academic disciplines represented at Wofford College. So I see accounting, anthropology, biology, chemistry, criminology, English literature, film studies, on down. And if I were looking for psychology, I would come here to psychology, and this list would tell me that Wofford College subscribes to 15 databases closely associated with the field of psychology. So if I clicked on that psychology link, I would bring up this list of those 15 databases associated with that discipline. And I can scroll through them and see a description of each database. But each of the disciplines on the list is going to have what we at Wofford call a best bets list. It's the list of the very best databases for your selected field. And so I see here for psychology, Medline, psych articles, psychology and behavioral sciences, and PsycInfo. If someone were to come in and say, hey, Tim, what's the best database for psychology? I would think immediately of PsycInfo. Here, this best list describes PsycInfo as the largest resource devoted to peer-reviewed literature in behavioral science and mental health. PsycInfo indexes scholarly journal articles and books and book chapters and dissertations from the 1800s to present. So that's an incredible wealth, not just of resource types, but of a span of publication years. So I can click here on PsycInfo. And when I do so, I'm prompted for my Wofford credentials I've mentioned to you before. that as Wofford students, you have access to this library's e-resources from anywhere in the world. All you need would be your set of My Wofford credentials. So I'll type in my password. And then I'm going to be prompted, and this is at the request of our campus's IT department, for a security code for this session. So I'm going to ask that it be texted to me. And so, folks, here I am in the database, PsycInfo. It says searching : it gives you the name of the database. Sometimes APA, which stands for the American Psychological Association, appears with PsycInfo because the American Psychological Association is the primary sponsor of the database. Here at the very top is EBSCOhost, which is simply the company we work with as a library to gain access to this database. So here you've got the central search box, just as you do with Wofford OneSearch. I could type in here. I'll give you an example. I had a recent consultation with a student who was interested in the psychological aspects of social media. So he came in here and typed in social media. And we have 43,335 results here. And the student said, hey, Tim, I am thinking about narrowing this search. I said, that's a good idea. And so we use the advanced search feature to get the multiple boxes. I told you before that students like having multiple boxes to put multiple search terms in to keep things neat and orderly instead of putting them all in one box. You can use and or not here, but the student wanted to stick with the default of and as an operator. So he typed in social media. He said, I'm also interested in college students as they relate to social media. Notice as you enter the phrase college, this database is going to try to figure out what you might be interested in based on past searches it has encountered. And so here it's saying, maybe you'd be interested in searching not just college students, but also university students or undergraduates. And so I say, or the student and I agreed, yes, let's search all of those phrases. We now run the search and we go from over 40,000 results to 3,100. And the student said, hey, Tim, I'm interested in one more term. He said, I'm interested in the notion of friendship. And so as we type in friendship here, the database says, all right, would you be interested in searching friendships or friends or relationships or peers? And we said, yes, give us all of those phrases. We clicked search to revise our search, and we're now down to 1,500. Now, we could start looking at articles, but before we do so, let me look at what we call filters. We've seen these before in Wofford OneSearch. They're typically in the left-hand column of your screen. It's saying here, would you like to limit to full text only? And if I limit to full text, I drop down to 413. I do not want to rush to do that, so I'm going to uncheck. I'm going to say, no, I do not want to limit to full text, and we'll see why in just a minute. But I can limit to a certain span of publication years. It's searching from 1973 to 2024. If I wanted to, I could change this from date to 2010 or 2015, whatever my professor might have suggested. I can come here and limit to academic journals. I can limit to books. We've seen all of these sorts of filters in Wofford OneSearch. But let's go farther down this list to look at filters that we have not seen in Wofford OneSearch, because the filters we're looking at now are specific to this database in the context of psychology. So here we've got an age filter. And if I click on age, it's saying, are you interested in adult, young adult, 30s, adolescents, middle age, aged? And so the student I was working with said, Tim, I would like to limit to young adult, 18 to 29. So we clicked on that. We're now down to 525 results. And the student said, Tim, I would like to limit by a couple of other filters. So we went to this methodology, and this is one of the most popular filters in this database among students. So we say show more, and it gives you all of the methodologies for psychological studies. And it tells you how many articles in your results list use that particular methodology. The student had been recommended by his professor quantitative studies, so we limited to quantitative studies. We could have limited to qualitative or longitudinal, focus group. You get the idea. But we limited to quantitative, updated. And so we're now down to 472 results. Let me show you a couple of more filters. This test and measures filter gives you the names of specific tests or specific measurements that may be used in studies. And so sometimes your professor will request that you come up with reports that use a particular test or use a particular measurement. And so you can very readily limit to those articles that meet the criterion with regard to test or measure specified by your professor. So there, folks, you see just how robust the filters are in this database with regard to the field of psychology. Let's look briefly at our results. Notice this is an article that's available HTML or PDF. If you have the choice, go with the PDF because it's an exact copy of the article as it originally appeared in the journal. Its page numbers will be just like those in the original article, which may not be the case with the HTML. But if I click here on the title of this journal article, notice this database is giving me the individual researchers, telling me where each is from, and giving me the email address of each researcher. If I do in-depth research on what this research group has done, I've invested some time that would warrant my perhaps reaching out to one of these scholars with a question specific to his or her work. I come down here, I have keywords, depression, young adults, that I may think about adding to my search to refine it. Here I've got an abstract or a summary, and this is a summary that this database has created in close consultation with the scholars of this research, so I can use keywords from this to refine my search to find more information closely related to the study I'm looking at here. And then I have some subjects: depression, emerging adulthood, again, phrases to think about using to refine my search. I have here the PDF, the HTML to download to my machine or to print off. Here I have a cite feature. I can click on cite and then specify the citation style. The APA style, the American Psychological Association style, is the most popular, of course, with psychology students. I can copy and paste that citation for this article into my paper. I'm going to go back to my results list. I want to show you now, here is an article, The Relationship of Social Media Addiction with Interpersonal Problem Solving. Notice it says check for full text. This is an article that is not full text in this database. So if I had checked initially, give me only full text in this database, I would not have seen this article because it's not full text in this database. But what Walford OneSearch does with the database PsycInfo is say, hey, if you have any articles that are not full text in your database, let us here at Walford go looking for those articles full text in other databases to which we subscribe. So if I click here, check for full text at Walford, I'm going from PsycInfo, looking for this article. And here it is in the database ScienceDirect. There's the PDF for me to download. So there is PsycInfo doing a handoff, so to speak, to the database ScienceDirect to give you the article you need. So I'm going to go back to PsycInfo to show you a couple of more things. If I like this search a lot, I can come here to this search drop-down menu right here. Come and say, would you please give me the permalink? I can then copy or paste that email, that link to myself or to a lab partner. And that way, when I click on that, I'll go right back to this search in the database. And I can rerun the search, and resources, no doubt, will have been added to the database since the last time I searched. So once I rerun the search, I can come up here to this relevancy feature, and I can say, would you please give me newest to oldest. That way, the resources that have been added most recently to the database on my topic of choice will be at the top of my results for me to view readily. All right. I'm going to now go back to the library's homepage. And let's imagine now that we now are all too well acquainted with this database PsycInfo and its usefulness to us. So the next time we want to access this, we simply come here to Database plus Journal Finder. We enter PsycInfo as the title of our database. We click Search. It's right there. We click PsycInfo and we go right to it. So folks, there very quickly is what databases are about. They can become fast friends of yours. If you're ever in doubt as to which database is the best for your discipline or for a particular project you are looking at, do not hesitate to speak with a friendly neighborhood librarian. Look forward to seeing you in the library soon. Folks, thanks for your attention and take care.